Handshake with a lion. In 2022, a middle-aged man in Ghana decided that fences were just suggestions. He climbed over a 10-foot fence, then another 20-foot one, just to personally meet the lions. Not one fence, two. That's dedication. Inside the enclosure was a lion, a lioness, and two cubs. Basically, a full family dinner setup. And this man's big plan? To shake hands with the lions. Yeah, he actually tried to dap up a predator. Anyway, the lion saw a free snack climbing in, and, well, the rest is history. When authorities called his family, they said he had told his kids he was going out for a quick adventure. The authorities installed a third outer perimeter fence around the lion enclosure and improved surveillance with CCTVs and camera traps. Free the animals. In 2008, a man figured the animals needed liberation. He snuck into the Singapore Zoo after hours, thinking he was some kind of hero. Armed with a rope, a few tools, and a backpack full of who knows what, he climbed the outer fence and headed straight for the animal enclosures. His big plan? Free the animals. His actual result? Falling straight into the white tiger enclosure, which housed 3 tigers at the time. The tigers immediately started, pacing, circling, and then closing in. Zoo staff heard shouts and rushed over, but by the time they arrived, the tigers had already dragged him across the moat. They tried to distract the animals with loud noises and tranquilizer darts, but it was too late. When the zoo contacted his family, his wife said she'd actually seen him leaving the house that night. Yep, she literally watched him march off toward his own disaster. The enclosure was shut down for days after the incident, while investigation took place. Officials later said the man had likely been drinking before he entered, and that his mission wasn't just reckless, it was impossible. Inside the tiger cage. Back in 2014, 20-year-old Maksud Khan somehow decided that the white tiger at the Delhi Zoo looked petable. How he ended up inside the enclosure is still debated. Some witnesses swear he slipped while trying to get a better view. Others claim he jumped. Either way, he found himself face to face with one of nature's most efficient predators. And here's the wild part. The tiger didn't immediately attack. For several seconds, long, silent, heart-stopping seconds, the enormous white tiger just stared at Maksud like, "You good, bro?" Maksud even sat down, visibly terrified, trying not to provoke the animal. And believe it or not, tigers often don't attack instantly if they aren't startled. In fact, this tiger, named Vijay, had a history of being unusually calm around keepers. But then the crowd stepped in. And by stepped in, I mean they started throwing stones, sticks, and anything they could find to shoo away the 400-pound apex predator. Because nothing, absolutely nothing, calms down a territorial carnivore like getting hit with rocks. That's when the tiger's behavior changed. Startled, confused, and now agitated, it reacted the way a wild animal is wired to react. And in front of hundreds of horrified onlookers, nature reminded everyone why zoo barriers exist and why ignoring them tends to go badly. After the incident, the Delhi Zoo got dragged hard in the media. Officials argued that they actually couldn't tranquilize the tiger quickly. A dart takes several minutes to work, during which the animal can become even more unpredictable. Rescue teams also couldn't enter the enclosure because that would almost guarantee a fatal confrontation. The aftermath led to one major safety upgrade: the installation of human-sized safety cages inside high-risk enclosures, essentially metal refuge boxes. If a visitor ever falls in again, they can sprint to these cages and lock themselves inside until rescuers arrive. The wrong zoo entrance. In an attempt to avoid paying for tickets, a man climbed 2 perimeter walls and somehow ended up inside the tiger enclosure. Not the shortcut he had in mind. Witnesses said the tigers noticed him immediately, and within seconds, they surrounded him. Visitors screamed, staff scrambled, and chaos broke out around the enclosure. The entire incident was caught on camera and quickly spread online. By the time help arrived, he was already in critical condition. One tiger even had to be put down before they could reach him. He was quickly airlifted by helicopter to a nearby hospital because of how severe the attack was. But despite the rapid response, he didn't survive his injuries. The zoo didn't waste time afterward. Taller fences, more warning signs, and zero tolerance for ticket dodging. Whether he left his house that day with the intentions of sneaking in, that will forever remain unknown. Christmas Day. On Christmas Day 2007, 3 teen boys reportedly started taunting a 350-pound Siberian tiger named Tatiana, shouting, throwing things, and basically forgetting what wild means. The group included 17-year-old Carlos Souza Jr. and 19-year-old Paul Dhaliwal, plus Paul's older brother. Moments later, Tatiana did the impossible. She cleared a 12.5-foot wall and escaped her enclosure, a wall later found to be below recommended height. Tatiana pinned Carlos down and killed him almost instantly, then chased the other 2 teen boys roughly 300 yards to the cafe area, mauling them as they ran. Emergency responders arrived fast. One of the injured teens was airlifted by helicopter to a nearby hospital because of how severe his wounds were. Police found Tatiana near the cafe and had to stop her there. The incident blew up nationwide. The surviving teens sued the zoo. The zoo blamed them for provoking the tiger, and the entire Big Cat exhibit had to be rebuilt from scratch for safety. The Toddler versus the Painted Dogs. On November 4th, 2012, 2-year-old Maddox Durkosh visited the Pittsburgh Zoo with his parents. His mother lifted him onto a railing at the African painted dog exhibit for a better view. Yes, she ignored all the warning signs plastered everywhere. Do not climb, stay behind the barrier, danger, wild animals. She did it anyway. Unfortunately, Maddox lost his footing, roughly 10 to 14 feet, landed on a safety net not meant for people, bounced, and ended up in the dog enclosure. The pack of 11 painted dogs reacted immediately and attacked. By the time staff reached him, the attack had already sealed his fate. The incident was captured on security cameras and sent shockwaves online. Afterward, both the mother and the zoo sued each other. The zoo argued she was negligent, while the family filed claims against the zoo for inadequate safety. No criminal charges were filed against the mother.